Hello, welcome to Govanhill Neighbourhood Centre here on Daisy Street. My name is Brian Liddy and I'm a Glasgow Life attendant. And it's my job to come in the mornings and start to get the building ready for the groups that are going to be coming in to use our rooms. It's quite a busy community centre. Govanhill Neighbourhood Centre is supposed to be the busiest community centre in Glasgow. And I'm told that we also bring in the most money. We're open Monday to Friday from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. We've got 17 rooms and a games hall. And we let those rooms out to groups in the community. It could be anything from somebody who just needs a place for a meeting. And we've got other people that have been renting rooms here every week for the past 20 odd years. So it's an interesting place to work. Lots of people coming in from all different communities. Big Noise is the biggest group, as I said, because they rent the whole of the top floor. And when they're going at full tilt, then they fill the building with kids with their musical instruments. And so they're probably the one that you'll hear them. You're walking around the building and all you can hear is music. There's like drums, violins and cellos and double basses and the like. And so that's really quite incredible. The other thing is that I've seen it's a really diverse communities that come in here. They say that Govanhill is the most diverse constituency in Scotland and that there's over 30 or 40 different languages that are spoken by people living here at Govanhill. And you can see that, and you can hear it. To me, Govanhill Neighbourhood Centre, I didn't really think about it very much until I started working here. Because I think before I started working here, I didn't realise how much goes on in here. I learned to swim in Govanhill Community Baths just along the road in Calder Street. So I've walked past this building, drove past it on the bus ever since I was a boy. Before it became a community centre, it was a primary school. That happened. It went from being a primary school to a community centre in the 1980s. So people still come in off the street just because they were passing, and this used to be their primary school, and they're wondering if they can have a look around. What used to be the playground has been turned into a garden, which you would never know existed from the outside. And just last week, we planted 2 new fruit trees. We've got new benches in there for people that are using the building. They can sit out there in the sun. But there's lots of tiny bits of attention to detail. So there's the original staircase at the far end of the building. It's still got the Diwali tiled walls, and the banister has got there's metal rods, but they put barley twists in. And if you look at the windows and the doors, then there's just like these wee slight decorative touches that just kind of lift the building. And it's still working really well today, in my opinion. And so I suppose when you ask what does the community centre mean to me, working here, it's like being part of the community. Refuse collectors, the bin men and women, they use our toilets, and so if I'm walking about Govanhill, the bin men, they'll beat their horn as they drive past. Kids that come in for the groups here, like maybe part of Big Noise, if I bump into them in the street, they wave, they stop and say hello. You really are part of the community. And for example, if I didn't come in here and open up, then all of the groups that use us wouldn't be able to take place. So you might think that really I'm not very important in the scheme of things, but if there's nobody here to open up, then all those groups have to go away empty-handed. So it really is quite an important job in that sense. The community centre just quietly goes about its business without making any fuss at all. People walking past maybe don't realise just how much goes on here. So it's really quite something. One of the most positive things about it is just the fact that there's all these different communities rubbing shoulders with each other, and they all get on quite well. people from different religions, different cultures, different countries, people that grew up here, people that have just come here from wherever they might have had to leave their own country for whatever reasons, and they all mix here in the community centres. So really there's positive things that happen here. So I think it's a good reflection on the community. And I know that when I retire in a couple of years, I'm going to be coming to my local community centre because it's an incredibly vibrant place and I want to make sure that it's used. And I want to be included as part of the community as well.
Hi, my name's Cameron. I'm from Live in Red, which is Scotland's Tenants and Community Union. I'm in the Govan Hill branch and we use the Govan Hill Neighbourhood Centre for our meetings. And I've lived in the area for about 10 years. So yeah, Live in Red is Scotland's national tenants and community union. And we have like a branch structure, so we have branches all across the country. In Glasgow, we have several different branches. So there's one here in Govan Hill, Govan Ibrox, Denniston, Partick and Shawlands Langside, and I'm a member of the Govan Hill branch, and yeah, we meet in the neighbourhood centre behind us. I had seen the work that Live in Red had been doing online. I decided to become like a paper member and just like pay dues, but wasn't really involved. And then I met someone who was quite involved through doing other sort of political stuff, and they were like, "Oh, it's really good. Like, you should get involved. You'll learn loads." And obviously, I was really frustrated about the housing crisis. And yeah, as soon as I joined, there was just loads to do, loads of ambition, and loads of enthusiasm, and it felt like you're actually doing stuff and getting results. And again, I know from being involved in Live in Red for a long time that some other branches have really struggled to find a place to meet that's affordable and appropriate and has the right kind of space. And like in any community, if spaces to meet don't exist, then it's really hard for the community to meet, to do whatever they want, whether that's be home meetings or events, or you could just do like some, jiu-jitsu or like learn to play instruments, have an after school club. Like, you need space to do that. Yeah, having the space has really helped with us, getting more people involved. Like, it's really central to the community, it's really familiar to the community. Lots of other groups use the space already, so people will be familiar with that. Or also we get, like, at times we get to interact with those other groups that use it and maybe have little chats with them. We used the space previously that when this was shut for, I think, refurbishment, or shut during COVID. Maybe shut during COVID. So we were using another space that was like more on the edge of the community, wasn't as central, wasn't as accessible, was actually the room we had to meet in was up a flight of stairs, so wheelchair users couldn't come. And the space was useful for the time, but it just wasn't as good as this for lots of different reasons. And therefore, I think less people probably attended because of that. Yeah, I think it's really good that we get to be in this space. Like, it's a space that's already familiar with people in the community. People will probably already know that it exists and where it is. And the fact that it's like a community centre, or a neighbourhood centre as it's called, rather than being like a church hall or some like other kind of space that, isn't a community centre. Those spaces might feel for some people maybe more inaccessible, or they might not feel as comfortable going. But you'd like to think that people feel comfortable and familiar with community centres, so it makes it easier for us to get people to our meetings and to get them involved. Yeah, it means a lot to us to be able to use this space. It's really central, really close to where everyone lives in the branch. It's really easy to get to, and makes it accessible. It means that turnout for our meetings and stuff is better. It doesn't cost that much for us to hire it. I think compared to other branches who are having to hire other spaces, a lot of their costs can be more. Also, like, I know from other branches in the city, like, the spaces just aren't as good. Like, they're not as useful or as well laid out for what they need, whereas that the space that we use in there is like perfect for us. And yeah, really appreciative that we get to use it and it's a public asset, and then we get to like use it alongside other community groups. It just feels really great that we're part of this vibrant community.
So my name's Izzy, and I have lived in Glasgow since 2011. And I moved here as a student, and now I work in a domestic abuse project. And I got involved in Living Rent a few years ago. Living Rent is a national tenants and community union, but has different branches. It has a Glasgow branch, it has a Govan Hill branch. I was a member for ages, but then I got involved about 5 years ago, and at the moment, soon to be finishing, but I'm like chairing the branch in Govan Hill. And what Living Rent really is about teaching people how to organise around problems in their area or problems in their housing, and how to challenge the powers that be. And the whole concept behind it is that you can't challenge it really very well by yourself, because people could just say no to you. But it's much, much harder to say no to a big group of people with the same problem. So it's teaching us how to get together and sort of challenge organisations and authorities to do what they should do and look out for people and protect us and, give us back a bit of power. So we moved into the neighbourhood centre about 4 or 5 years ago. And for that, we were based in a church. And all the other branches in Glasgow Living Rent, that's like Denniston, Shoreditch, Partick, stuff, they all meet in church buildings, because it's really hard to find community centre buildings. But we in Govan Hill are really lucky, and probably every area should be like this, to have a community centre where we can go. And it is important to us because the location of this building is probably like in the middle of Govan Hill, and it's also where lots and lots of other people come and meet, and they have their groups. So it's important to us to be based in this building so that we can, communicate with other groups, and also so that we have a space that's affordable. And it's also like, it's not a religious space. So if people did have an issue coming into a religious space, they wouldn't be put off by that. It's a neutral space where anyone can come. So in terms of like the role of a community centre more generally, the thing is about it is, if you think about like the modern world, everywhere you go, you have to pay to be there. So if you're, want to use the toilet, there's not public toilets. So you need to pay to be in town, buy something, or like, go into like a pub or something like that. If they're nice, they'll let you use the toilets. If they're not, they'll make you pay for something. And one of the things about a community centre is it is a space where anyone should feel welcomed. And especially for young people, because young people kind of get a rough deal, because if you don't have like a great family situation, or you don't have like a lot of space at home, there's not a lot of places that you can go without having money. Whereas actually, if you have a community centre, that's like a wealth, like a resource for everybody that everybody can use. It's a place that's warm. It's a place where there's activities you can do. It's a place where you can meet people who live near you. And I think in the world we live in, obviously, we all use our phones and we all go on screens and stuff like that. But it's really important to get out of that and be able to walk 5 minutes down the street and meet people who live where you live, actually deal with real people, and have a place to go that isn't expensive, that isn't commercial. It's a space that's just purely there for the community. So actually, like Govan Hill branch in Glasgow, we have 5 branches. So we have Denniston, Shorelands, Partick and Govan Ibrox. And we are one of the only branches that have access to a community centre. A lot of the other branches do use the churches. And that, it's great that the resource of the churches is there, like no disrespect, because the church is amazing, but it's also like, sometimes it's not the most appropriate space. People might have to sit in the pews, for example. We have quite interactive standing up and down meetings. We want to have discussions in like little groups. So actually having a setting where you can get the tables out, you can move them wherever you want them and do stuff like that is really good. So something I just wanted to add is another way that you can get involved in our branch is going to the Milk Community Centre on Cathcart Road. at 6:30 on the last Monday of the month. And that's when we have our member defence catch up. And what that means is members who've got a housing issue, specific housing issue that they want to fight, like a repair their landlord's not doing, or they're getting evicted, can go there. And that's like a group session where you'll go there, you'll get someone to talk to you about your issue and talk you through the next steps of how to challenge the problem. So like writing to the landlord or like going to speak to the landlord, but with a group so you're not alone. So that's the other way that people can get involved. And that space is also a community centre that we do use that's provided us loads and loads and loads of support as a bunch.
Hiya, I'm Ankara Yudisco. I'm a trade unionist. I work for Unison as a local organizer, and I'm the secretary of the Governor branch of Living Rent. So I'm part of Living Rent, Scotland's Tenants and Community Union. I'm based in Glasgow, where we've got the most amount of members because we organise in our neighbourhood to, improve things materially here. When you look around here, you can see that there's so many people who have issues with their tenancies, insecure tenancies, landlords that might be increasing rent every time that they get an opportunity, and people who just hold 2/3 of their rents across every month just to be able to have a place to live. And this is a problem that we see for so long. So we based ourselves in Denniston originally, and now we've got 5 branches across Glasgow. We do a lot of work here to be able to really win better buses or win Whitepool being reopened. There's really local issues that matter to people, so we can all actually have better material conditions in our lives, so that we don't have to pay either for an all-day bus pass when the bus doesn't even work, so that we can just kind of push back against landlords that might not respect the law. And we come together to actually be able to learn what is actually out there for us, what our rights are, and just try together and support one another and be involved to enforce them, because there's just not a system in place that actually really has a back of the tenants. So these are our rights and it's our fights, so we have to be able to come together and support one another through that. And we used Directly Collective Action where we do these things. So we come together, we learn what the issue is, we try and negotiate, always in good faith. And then if we don't get any further forward, then eventually we come together at the letting agency or at the landlord registering address and say, we'll be able to go to a table and negotiate. We're not alone. Are you going to listen to us? And this is a really important feature of Living Rent, is that we build our own power. We build our own power. So what drove me to be involved with Living Rent? I used to study journalism at the University of Glasgow. I was doing a master's there, and I was doing an article on gentrification in Government Hill because it was such an interesting neighborhood. And I ended up speaking to Sonia Cocknell, who was at the time the organizer for the city of Glasgow, and we spoke about what Living Rent is, what they were doing, what gentrification was, and it was such an incredibly powerful conversation that I had with her. That it genuinely changed my life. It was in March of 2022 when that happened, and by April I was going to the governor meetings. I became a member really quickly. I got involved. She talked to me about this campaign, this proposal that you just can't say no to, about reforming renters' rights, about getting a new deal for tenants. And at that time, there was the big national campaign that we had. There was a consultation with them. She just said, look, you're out there, you're talking to people, you've got networks, tell them to sign it. It's such an easy thing to do. And that's just, I left that conversation with feeling like there are people out there who are developing in their own backyards, doing things that don't demand you to be an expert in anything, because I was certainly not one. And it made me feel like I really believe in the model that they have. It's till in those meetings, people were talking about what can you do next? How can you escalate? How can you get councillors to talk to us about our bids campaign? They've paid money to us. When are we going to see it? When are we going to see the material improvement of their pledges when they said that they were going to give us so much money to like fill the neighborhood and make sure that there was enough money in refuse and cleansing so that the bills would be picked up and that there would be translation alongside to pay for people in the neighborhood and just this kind of stuff. Then you feel like, oh, these are stuff that are it's in my neighborhood. It is low level. It is something that I can easily be involved in. I don't need to know all of the theory, all the scholars about it. I can just come in, do something, and really feel part of a collective. I really was enthralled by the idea that you're holding your own hero because it's empowering. But you don't have to do it alone because it's lonely. And I just really believe in that model of like low level and don't to be expert. You just get to learn by doing and you get to learn from others. And for me, that was just hitting all the boxes of something I've been searching for so long. I didn't even know I needed it. But it gave me hope. It gave me real hope that with others you could come together and yeah, win and make a better neighborhood for yourself and make a better life for yourself and speak to your neighbors and just build a better world in a way, but just starting from the bottom, starting for something that's actually achievable. That's my clothes, my neighborhood, my city, and then yeah, Scotland eventually. So yeah, that's what I do. And that people can easily come and get access to the issues and discuss that are in the neighborhood and what people want to hear about it and discuss and what they want to do about it. So it's really positive feels to be able to like have access to things like that. And I think I think its absence would be felt. I don't know how people can always see that how good it is that we have it, but if you let it go, people would be like, oh no, we are losing something that we didn't know, perhaps we didn't get to be aware of how precious it was. So I think if we were to lose access to that neighborhood center, we would feel its absence. It would be noticed. And people would probably be very unhappy about it. So for our branch, being a Govan Hill Neighborhood Center is about accessibility and it's also about affordability. Because we are in Adelaide Union, we have membership dues. That's how we like to keep ourselves as independent as we can. And that's how training works. And that's the role model. So we don't have money as other organizations might have. So with limited funds, we used to be in another place. That is great. But that was a bit more expensive and accessibility issues were arising because they had to take. So being in the Govan Hill Neighborhood Center, which Glasgow Lights takes care of, is good because in Western Food that was a lot cheaper for us. We were able to host meetings that were accessible to all, especially if you had the mobility issues. It's a good space. It's a big space. We can have lots of people around. We can have conversations around. It's a good place to host. It's not without its fault for no areas, but it is something that's been really positive for us in the bank, really at the heart of the neighborhood. And yeah, it is. It's one of the only branches that we have that any brand like actually taking care of by the household, as opposed to perhaps a place of worship. I think on the whole, we're very lucky to have that space available to us. A lot of other places in other neighborhoods that we've got 5 neighborhoods and we have branches and franchises in, and they don't have access. You literally they just don't have that access to a place that's just like it's Glasgow Life, it's a city council where it's public, it's open, it's affordable. A lot of people have to will rely on places of worship, which is fine. It's just that it's generic and it is a very good place to be able to like organize because just on practical terms, you're going to a church, you might have pews, these circles around, like maybe you do your meeting and it has to be very top down or it just looks different. And it's not at all a bad thing necessarily, but it might not be the same price. It might not be the same accessibility. It would be colder as well. If you've got one of the older churches and really nice ceilings. So there's all good positive to have this kind of neighborhood. So like this, we're really lucky that we have that. It's no, I'd love to know what the numbers are on how many of these neighborhoods we have closed over the years. But it is a positive thing that we have access to it, I would say, rather than our spaces. Um, it's good that people can come here and host their meetings about being capoeira, or during the community council, or yeah, just having a public meeting, and yeah, and it's open during the week and you can stay up late, and it's just good to have access to this kind of neighborhood center there. And it's just so like at the end of the day, for any worlds, and it's good to have a space like that that exists and that's available in the neighborhood. Honestly, yeah, I think it's really good that they exist. I think it's a shame that there's seemingly less of them available across the city, but maybe not just across the city, but across Scotland. And yeah, I'm really grateful that we get to have this space. And yeah, there's lots of things that can be done here, that people can do if that's broad spectrum essentially is like where you can point. So yeah, I think it's good that they are out there and that they are available to people in certain neighborhoods. Wish that they were available in more neighborhoods. The best way to get involved with Living Rent is to become a member. Haha. It's also just a county event. We don't bite. You don't have to be a member when you come. Maybe you just want to listen. Maybe you're just not sure how we operate. What do we do? These kind of things. But yeah, we meet once a month. Usually on the first full week of the month, that Thursday, we're going to be at the Govan Hill Neighbourhood Centre from 6:30 until 8 p.m. And we're going to be talking about the campaign that we have at the moment, maybe a local issues that are ongoing, maybe then the defense cases when we come together and support members with issues with their landlords relating agency and how that's going. Will there be like us coming to an action coming to them saying you're not negotiating with us and now we're making ourselves more municipal, and then we can have a conversation and try and resolve this issue. And yeah, that's the best way to get involved. We've got lots of other ways. Not everybody can make it on a Thursday evening. It's people have shifts, people have caring responsibilities, but we've got events, we've got stalls. Every Tuesday evening, we go door knocking in the neighborhood. We want to talk to people about what the impact of rent has on them. We want to understand, what's out there for people, like how events have increased in the neighborhood in the last 2 years and how that impacts people. And yeah, we've got a tourist tax, a bus campaign that focuses on asking for night buses to be reintroduced into the city on a larger scale, not just during the weekends, but also during the week for people who have shift patterns, for people who might not be able to afford a taxi home or might not be able to drive. And yeah, it's that kind of work that we do together, and you don't need to be an expert. I was not an expert when I first joined. It's so important for people to understand that you will learn as long as you're coming in and you're willing to learn and you're willing to work with other people. You don't need to be an expert. Like that's the only really attitude that you need in this is wanting to work with others. You can't be part of a union if you don't want if you want to work on your own. It's going to be a bit tough. So it's just very important to be able to have people who feel like this matters to me, or I think that there's more work that we should be doing in another area, and wants to like raise issues maybe that we're not aware of, and just be like really part of the neighborhoods. And it's important, first thing that you can do as well is just talk to your neighbor. Say, I'm going to this meeting. You want to come with me? And then just go. Just like you come there. If you've got an issue with your landlord or your letting agency, you don't just have to take it on the chin. You don't just have to wait for the repairs to be done or accept the second rent increase in less than 12 months. You don't have to do that. You can go with other people and go to our member defense open meetings the last Monday of every month at Milk Cafe and speak about it and learn from others and learn with others and, be your own hero. You will not have to do it alone.